Oh, good morning. Let's go explore the castle. That's where we're going.
Heck yeah.
I'm Sammy and this is Tommy. We have spent the last 2 months exploring some amazing places in Southeast Asia. Today we're heading to Croatia, where our Eastern European road trip begins. Unfortunately, we lost the majority of our footage from our first week of this trip because of hard drive failure.
Alright, we just got off the public bus and we're about a 15-minute walk away
From our Airbnb.
But we made it to Croatia. We are super psyched. We're here in Split now. Time to celebrate with the beer.
Split, Croatia is positioned on the eastern shore of the Adriatic Sea. It is a charming Mediterranean town and the second largest city in Croatia. The first day we set out to explore the city and enjoy the cooler temperatures. It's a beautiful morning, the weather is amazing, we're so excited to be here. We started our day with some excellent coffee and croissants. After eating way too much, we decided to walk up Marjan Hill, which is often called the lungs of Split. The hill is lush with trees, scenic viewpoints, and paths where we enjoyed several beautiful lookouts. The lookout points were breathtaking, but make sure you head all the way to Telegrin for the best views of the town, the islands, and the mountains. That night, it was my birthday, and Tommy surprised me with dinner reservations at a very fancy seaside restaurant where we had way too much fun and enjoyed some amazing sea bass.
That thing melt away.
Perfect way to end my birthday night, so thank you very much. Good night. We woke up early the next day to explore the old town of Split. Nice.
Good morning. You look so pretty, too.
Oh, good morning. Let's go explore the castle. Wow, it's so nice and quiet already outside. The old town of Split is a maze of streets and cobblestoned lanes that surround Diocletian's palace.
Alright, so this palace was built in the 4th century AD. It was actually built for a retirement home for the Roman Emperor Diocletian.
It's really cool now because it's like so big. It's more like a fortress. It makes up like half the old town of Split. And it's just all these little shops and restaurants and bars, and you can just go in and explore. It's just really cool. We walked through Fruit Square, which was home to a bustling and colorful market where women from surrounding villages came to sell their fruit. In the center of the square, monument the citizen of Split, Marko Muralic, who was one of the most important philosophers and intellectuals of the 15th century. At the palace's heart is Peristyle, an imperial square where Emperor Diocletian once addressed the public. The square is closely watched over by a 3,500-year-old and perfectly preserved black granite sphinx. It was looted from Egypt and dates back to the 15th century. Towering above the square is the 57-meter-tall bell tower of St. Dominic's Cathedral, completed in 7th century AD. If you pay a small fee, you can climb up to the top to get great views of the city. I love little alleyways like this. They're my favorite. Should we get a picture right here? I feel like this is such like a picturesque spot. We then strolled on the River Promenade, which is the harbor in Split. It is lined with palm trees, colorful buildings, and views of the Adriatic Sea. We indulged on delicious food, enjoying the sea view and people watching. The next day, we took an hour-long ferry ride from Split to the island of Brač. We stayed in the small harbor town of Bol. Bol is a beautiful place made up of small stone houses and winding streets. Brač is famous for its stone, which you can see all over the island.
So this whole island's known for its white limestone, so everywhere you walk, you'll see these sculptures.
This same stone was used in the construction of Diocletian's palace and the White House. The major attraction here is Zlatni Rat, the seductive, pebbly beach that stretches out into the Adriatic Sea. That's the Golden Horn, you guys. The Zlatni Rat beach. That's where we're headed, and look at this water. We walked along a long coastal promenade lined with pine trees, sculptures, and gardens that connect the beach with the old town.
No nudists? All right, I'm out of here. Let's go. So I'm glad we got here early and we beat all the crowds.
Even though we were here in off-season, Bol is a buzzing place in the summer and we can definitely see why. We enjoy this beach to ourselves and watch the sunset. The next morning, we started our day with more pastries and set out for a challenging hike up the Vidova Gora. So today we are hiking Vidova Gora. It is said to be the #1 thing to do here in the island of Brač. I believe that's where we're going.
Heck yeah.
And I'm already dying. But we're gonna try to attempt to get up there. It's supposed to be beautiful panoramic views. It said I think you can see all the way to Italy once you're up there, but we'll see. Let's get started. The first section of the hike is along a road that leads up to a stone quarry. Eventually the road becomes a rocky hiking trail winding up the mountain. This hike was 7 miles round trip and took us about 4 hours. Time for the switchbacks. That's when you know you're starting to finally get really high. Look how good you look, babe. Guys, the path just keeps getting steeper and steeper. I know you can't tell on the camera, but just take my word for it. And my breathing. It's pretty steep. After some difficult switchbacks, the trail summits onto a ridge right above Bol. That way, you guys. The challenging hike was worth the effort because the view was amazing. We were lucky to have clear weather and we were able to see Zlatni Rat, Bol, Hvar Island, and the Croatian mainland. Right, guys, we're on the way down. Watch out for those traps. Whenever we were coming up the path, so many people were going down. And then whenever we got to the top, we realized that a lot of people were getting driven up and then they were just hiking down, because when you hike down, you get the views. That's a good idea. We wished we had more time in Bol. It was such a quaint and beautiful harbor city. Guys, we hiked all the way up there. That's nuts. We hiked down and rewarded ourselves at the local winery where we enjoyed some amazing wine and a wonderful charcuterie board. After only 2 days, we ferried back into Split and took the local bus to the city of Dubrovnik. We booked our Airbnb with a great view of the walled city. Dubrovnik is a city in southern Croatia fronting the Adriatic Sea. It is usually regarded as the most picturesque city on the Dalmatian coast and is referred to as the Pearl of the Adriatic. It's known for its distinctive old town encircled with massive stone walls completed in the 16th century. It is one of the most prominent tourist destinations in the Mediterranean Sea. Being huge Game of Thrones fans, we are so excited to finally be in King's Landing. We walked the Dubrovnik walls, doing the entire loop around the old city. The views are spectacular the entire way and are definitely worth the steep price of admission. We then wandered the streets of Old Town. The narrow streets are filled with restaurants and small shops. It gets very crowded during the day with hordes of people coming off of cruise ships, so make sure you start your day early. We did our own do-it-yourself Game of Thrones walking tour. We ran into Pile Bay, which was known as Blackwater Bay in the Game of Thrones show. We climbed up Fort Leverjanac, which had more great views of Dubrovnik. We really enjoyed getting lost on the narrow alleyways and eating our way around this magical city.
Thank you.
Bye, thank you so much. Sammy. So nice meeting you. So much. Thank you.
All right, so we just made it to the airport. Now we're heading to our car rental and time to explore.
Yeah.
Woo. All right, so we got our little car. We thought we were getting a Mini Cooper, but it's a, what's it called, an Atom?
It's an Atom. He came with a name. He's so cute. He's purple.
And we got our green card, which allows us to go to all the nearby countries.
Except for Albania and Kosovo.
That only cost us about $45 or so. We had this car for 30 days. We got it for about $11 a day, which is by far the cheapest I found. But we're taking off now. We'll see you guys in a little bit.
First stop is Molly Stone for the world's best oysters.
I'm super psyched just to have our own space, our own car. We can go explore wherever we want, take our time, not relying on any kind of transportation.
Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Why? This is nice. Like.
Alright, so we just arrived at this oyster place. We looked up kind of like the top 10 places. And this one really appealed to us, the price point and the view we have. So we're overlooking the sea where they actually farm all the oysters out. When we first pulled up, we didn't think it was open because nobody was around. But the owner actually lives right behind, so she ran up once she saw us, and we're about to get served a dozen. We'll probably get a dozen more. They're supposed to be some of the best oysters in the world, so we are super excited. We both love oysters so much. We made a special trip just to Stone for this reason, so I'm ready to eat.
So I think in Dubrovnik we were paying 19 kunas for one oyster, and here it's only 6 from the same place. That's crazy. But the owner says, she said, because the oyster lives here. It's so cute.
All right, first bite. Delicious.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
So Mali Stone, or Stone in Croatia, is world renowned for having some of the best oysters. And we looked up a bunch of reviews, and this place came highly rated. But we weren't wowed. Just like when you get that like taste of like a little bit of salt and ocean and just like the freshness and all like the juices in the oyster. And so while these were good, they weren't wowing us. Like we came here off course just to try oysters. So we're gonna go try a couple other places and see if we can get those wow oysters because we came looking for them.
We're going to the #1 rated place now. This was like the 8th, but it was the most affordable. So now we're going to the top dog and testing those waters.
Right onto Vala Marsalatita.
Vala Marsalatita.
We just arrived at the #1 rated restaurant here, especially for oysters. It is a little fancy for us. The menus alone is like a old pirate textbook. I think we're gonna try some oysters, get some wine, and enjoy. Salud, mi amor.
Okay. Fish pate. It's very sweet. It's not fishy at all. It's delicious.
Alright, so we're trying the fancy oysters now. There actually weren't that much more. It was only 10 kuna instead of 6 from the last place. And they are served on ice. We got a bunch of free dishes, a bunch of free bread, some free pate, whatever that is. And the main reason we came was for the oysters. Oh, so good. They definitely beat the last place.
Do they?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we just finished up some amazing oysters. We kind of wound up having a whole meal with soup and dessert, and it was fabulous. We loved it. And now we're gonna finish up the drive to Mostar. I think it's about two more hours from here, so got a little bit of a drive ahead of us. After eating some incredible oysters in Mali Stone, we finished up our 2-hour drive and made it to Mostar. Croatian. It's called Zlatni Rat. It's spelled like rat, but I don't know. We're going to the Golden Horn Beach. Oh my god, I'm sitting right in a spider's web. Our last coffee in King's Landing. It's still here for everyone else to enjoy. So burned up.
Sammy dropped the main camera on the main lens, so now you
on
have...
the concrete.
Yeah, right in the concrete. The outside of it is smashed. It does not look very pretty.
It looks like it's a loved camera and that we use it every day, and we do. So the camera's fine.
Yeah,
and the lens is fine.
she's in the doghouse.
The guy was like, "Oh, you'll probably need a new lens too," and I was like, "Oh, we'll probably need a new wife."
Yeah, she's on the fence right now. She is in trouble. All right, so we just finished Sammy's...
I was taking my tongue out. Yeah, I finally got one of those magical chocolate spheres that you see all over Instagram, and like people pour the hot syrup all over it and it like melts in front of you. I got one of those for myself. I was like, oh my god, is this for me? It was so good.
Actually built for the Roman Emperor Dio something. What's his name? We are overlooking the lake, or is it the sea?
Sea ocean, do you want me to pan out?
Sea ocean.